Much like the dreams I used to have in my younger years, Hogwarts Legacy begins with your acceptance letter to the infamous School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. You are, however, accepted as a 5th year student, which means you've got some catching up to do. But thankfully there is more than meets the eye. Your character has an incredibly rare ability to see and use ancient magic. Your special ability to wield this ancient magic is what sparks our rather lackluster story in Hogwarts Legacy. But before you set off on your adventure, you must create and customize your character. I was under the impression that Hogwarts Legacy would have an extensive array of customization options, and although there are plenty of hairstyles and skin colors to choose from, that's pretty much it. Facial structure is determined by a few default presets, so you can't go full Elden Ring and create a character so ugly that it doesn't even belong in a world full of trolls. Throughout your journey as a 5th year Hogwarts student, you'll be joined by your right-hand man, Professor Fig. Together you will attempt to unravel the mystery of why this ancient magic is making a sudden revival, and to stop it from getting into the wrong hands. Although it sounds interesting enough, Hogwarts Legacy's story is its biggest downfall. Not only does Hogwarts Legacy fail to grip you into its story, but it also introduces one of its main villains in such a nonchalant way that I questioned how on earth I was ever supposed to feel intimidated by them. After attempting to confront my character in Hogsmeade, Victor Rookwood and his cronies scarpered away with their tails between their legs after being warned off by the owner of the pub. Needless to say, this was not exactly the menacing introduction I was hoping for. But let's face it, are we here for another 8-part storyline, or to finally feel like we've been accepted into Hogwarts? As the majority of my excitement was formed around the latter, I could let the rather empty storyline slide when held up against the sheer amount of detail and immersion Hogwarts Legacy has to offer. From floating watering cans in Hogsmeade to gigantic trolls in the Forbidden Forest, everything about this game feels alive. The chatter of students fills the halls, while every single shop in Hogsmeade is beautifully crafted and you can go inside them. You could spend hours exploring the world in awe. Despite the clear amount of love that has gone into recreating the wizarding world, there are some basic gameplay elements that let it all down. Navigating the map feels clunky and is often frustrating, having to switch between 3 different sections of the map, separated into Hogwarts, Hogsmeade and the remaining world, and that means going through 3 different tabs, whereas having the ability to simply zoom in and out between the 3 would have been much smoother. Sadly, this isn't the only element of Hogwarts Legacy that feels clunky. Throughout the game, you learn various spells, with some being more useful than others. There's a wide variety of spells that can be learned throughout the game, but the system in which you equip them often ruins the flow of your adventure. There are 4 slots available for the spells, with a total of 4 different sets available to unlock as you progress through the game. But even with the ability to switch between different spell sets with the push of a button, you can't always guarantee that you'll have the spell you need at the right time. This leads to a pause in the action as you're forced to bring up all of your spells and equip them to an assigned slot. With that being said, there is still plenty of fun to be had when it comes to actually using those spells. Although there's nothing inherently unique about the combat, I did find the process of putting together different combinations in battle to be rather cool. Chaining together various spells to pull your enemies towards you only to light them on fire was worryingly satisfying. Given the extensive universe Hogwarts Legacy is set in, I was hoping for a bit more variation in enemy types. Certain enemies will be surrounded with a coloured shield, which corresponds to a certain set of spells required to break the enemy's protection and leave them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. It was one of the few unique additions that Hogwarts Legacy had to offer to the RPG genre. Thankfully though, there's more to do than just fighting trolls and spiders. Hogwarts Legacy offers a huge array of side quests, mini-games and classes. But don't go in expecting the classes to be something out of Rockstar Games' Bully, as they are actually vital to the progression of the story. Certain quests will have requirements attached, with many of these requirements revolving around the spells that you know. You'll be able to do some shady underground dealings with another student by the name of Sebastian to learn some dark arts magic, but attending classes will be the main way to learn new spells and progress through your quests. Sebastian is just one of the many faces you'll meet throughout the course of the story, but in honesty, it's incredibly difficult to form a bond with any of them given the deadpan expression that they all have. Piercing eyes and minimal facial movements made me feel as though I was playing Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the PlayStation 1 all over again, and not in the good way. Much of Hogwarts Legacy's marketing revolved around the ability to form your own legacy, but despite the fact that there are 3 different endings and a fair bit of variety in terms of dialogue options, I felt as though I was railroaded onto the same essential path as everybody else. Even when attempting to go down the more snarky and abrasive route in terms of NPC interactions, I didn't feel like it had any effect on my progression. The house you're sorted into at the start of the game is determined by a surprisingly straightforward set of questions, which in turn decides which traits your character has, but again, regardless of which house I was in, there was no sense that it really made any sort of difference past the outermost surface of the experience. Avalanche Software has meticulously recreated Hogwarts down to such minute details that it's sure to bring out the child in most of us. It is, without a doubt, a gorgeous realisation of the wizarding world. Attending classes, taming beasts, exploring Hogwarts, and learning new spells could keep you occupied for hours on end, but it's nowhere near a groundbreaking experience. If you strip the Harry Potter IP away from Hogwarts Legacy, you're left with just another standard RPG that we've seen countless times before. And that is the end of this review. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informative and useful. If you did, do us a favour, go on down below, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and tap the bell so that you get notified whenever we've got new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been magical, and I'll see you on the next one. Mischief managed.